Visakha, known as the City of Destiny, is spread on the coast of Bay of Bengal in Andhra Pradesh. Being an abode of natural beauty, this city attracts a large number of tourists and is developing by leaps and bounds. Being an abode of natural beauty, this city attracts a large number of tourists and is developing by leaps and bounds.
Good evening, everyone. Hello, my fellow friends. Hope you all are doing good. It's a happy to see you all on this Sunday evening. First of all, I thank our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor P.V.G.D. Prasad Reddy Garu, for launching the virtual Tech Talk platform, and I also thank our respected Principal, Professor Perry Srinivasa Garu, for giving this wonderful opportunity to host the virtual Tech Talk platform, G.I.T.A. As initiated by AU College of Engineering, Andhra Sri Visakhapatnam, a series of tech talks are being organized by the General Interest Topics Avenue, which is also known as G.I.T.A. G.I.T.A provides an online platform for the enrichment of technical knowledge of the students' fraternity of AU College of Engineering and other colleges as well. G.I.T.A invites technical by domain experts, faculty, scholars to share their views and expertise with the budding engineer of AUCE. In this connection, G.I.T.A, a series of TED Talks are streamed live through our YouTube channel every Sunday at 7 p.m. So, today our speaker is in the line, and we'll start our session. And I hand over the mic to Harika, and she will host she will introduce our guest as well, and we can continue the session. Harika, yeah, continue. Yeah, continue. Uh, I request Mr. Visakhapatnam to please turn on the camera and start the live session. Sir, you can start the presentation. Also turn on the camera. Sir, I turn the radio. Sir, యూట్యూబ్లో వినిపించట్లేదా?
thinking thought process you are going to get embedded into yourself as part of doing a thesis work or project work will be very helpful for you for a successful career ahead. I will tell you the reason why it is so. Anyway, coming to the very first point, when we talk about when we have to do some good work, some project work or thesis work, it is important to understand these three simple sentences, these three simple points, like what is innovation, and what drives an innovation, and why innovation is necessary. Okay, I'll just briefly define an innovation. Let us say we have a system, we have something working, we have some system or something working, and if we can do some validation to that particular system or something which is working without compromising on the existing features, it is an innovation. It can be a delta X improvement. It can be a simple delta X improvement. If you just read through the innovation theories, and it is very basic, in its very basic sense, it is defined. I may not be very precise, but in its very basic sense, it is defined like without compromising on the existing features, if we can do some delta X validation, some delta X improvement in terms of the features and functionalities and advantages, whatever you define as good for the particular system. That is innovation. Now, what drives innovation? When I say innovation has to improve upon some factors. What are those factors? So the driving factors for innovation is some ideality, ideality in the sense, okay, when we talk about a mobile phone, when we talk about a personal computer, when we talk about a laptop, so we talk in terms of it has to be sleek in size, it has to have it should be easy to handle, light in weight, it should have best video features, it should have smart features, it should have intelligent options, so it should have security features. We talk about n numbers. All these are, you know, best factors which we talk about when we talk about a mobile phone. So improving upon all these factors, when we keep improving all these factors, we keep reaching towards an ideal mobile phone or ideal system. Frankly to speak, a mobile phone is a simple example, but whichever system we talk about, the best of the factors which we consider are required in a system, if we keep improving upon them, we keep reaching towards an ideal, and there will not be an ideal system end of the day, but this will be a continuous process and struggle. So whichever feature which drives us towards an ideal system, whichever feature which drives us towards an ideal system, if we can make delta X improvement in that without compromising on the existing features as such, that can be an innovation. And what we have to do in order to do something like that is important. And end of the day, any innovation should have a positive impact on the society, and the impact levels it creates. Further to your research work or some innovative work talks about the the best thing whatever is there in your innovation. Okay. Now anyway, so why we should have some driving factor like this. We need to do something out of the box. We need to do some validation. We need to do something towards innovation. This should be the basic driving factor which we should have, because doing some routine work, not only during the project work or thesis work, subsequent to this also, doing some routine work, even in subsequent profession also, doing some routine work itself will not be okay, and it will not make you a successful or contributing professional. Instead, doing something little out of the box, little out of the line, and in a manner which really creates an impact, maybe to your wherever you are working or to the society, and whatever is the best way that it can contribute, you can contribute. If you can do a little in that direction, you can be a better successful, or contributing professional. Okay, so as I said in the very first, second or third of my slides here, if you embed this kind of skill, this kind of thought process into your code, It is not that you are going to do a good project now, and the skill or this this thought process which you are going to embed in you is going to be helpful further in your career also. That is where it is very important to take your project work very seriously, and it should lead you further. It should lead you further to your best professional career. Okay, coming to the actual topic. Okay, a project work or a thesis work. So where do we start? We start with problem selection. We start. So the step one is the problem selection. Okay. When we talk about a project work or thesis work, in brief, we can divide them. We can categorize them into a few categories. So the list whatever I gave is not exhaustive and comprehensive. It is my own thought process, and it is subject for correction also. Okay, but as I understand about the problem selection, the basic categories of problems in any project work or thesis work or research work can be categorized into research into works with research and innovation objectives, design and development objectives, analysis and comparison objectives, validation objectives, skill gaining or demonstration objectives. I will further say that these, if you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever have been listed over here, the problem categories are research problem or thesis problem categories. We'll be able to see in these broad categories. Okay, and these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 categories, whatever we are seeing, these categories happens to be in the sense top to bottom. So if you can do something in the first category like research and innovation objectives, so as I told you, something innovative, something out of the box, some value addition to, and which can create some impact to the society. So with these objectives, if some work can be taken up, okay, that comes under the first and best categories. And there are further categories like design and development. Like you design some system. Okay, you have got a scientific principle existing. You know about a method. You learned about a method, scientific method, a scientific approach. Use that in designing something which is useful for the society, something which is useful as an engineering product or technological product. So this kind of work also can be categorized as the number two variety of category of any project or thesis work. And there are many areas, there are many project works whose main objective is analyzing. Okay, there is some scientific principle existing, there is a method existing, there is an approach existing, well established approach existing. So we do some analysis, we do some comparison. So we do even analyze, we even analyze some of the designs. So this kind of project work comes under another category. Okay, and that also makes a meaningful project work. And end of the day, we need to evaluate, we need to do some validation. Like we have a system, we have a design, we have a research work done, and we have got a method developed. So we need to validate that. So we can validate using some simulation based approach, we can validate using some experimental approach. There are many possibilities for validating a given work, a given methodology which has been developed already by somebody. So this kind of work also can become another important category of project work. And this fifth category is little more simple and easier category, whereas you have some skills, so you have some domain knowledge. For demonstrating that, you take up a simple case and demonstrate it. In this sense, this category, starting from 5 to 1, okay, it can be from B.Tech students to kind of M.Tech and PhD scholars. It can go like that. These categories of project work. Now, typically, in the case of a B.Tech student or M.Tech student or undergraduate and postgraduate students, problem literature survey work you do, okay, which that really plays an important role for you to draw your problem statement in the best possible manner. So we need to do very constructive study of various literature that is possible, and once we do the constructive study, we need to completely come for an assessment, our individual assessment and own assessment about what is the present state of the art in related to that particular problem which we have taken up as a project work. What happens here is, unless until you understand what is the present state, it will become sometimes reinventing the wheel, which is not necessary, and definitely it is not any value addition, or it is not going to be any step ahead, any step ahead in the process of doing some meaningful work. Okay, so it is important to understand what is the state of the art. Once you understand what is the state of the art with respect to that particular project problem, then you have to precisely define your problem. In the sense, okay, this is the limitation related to a specific system. This is the limitation related to a specific methodology. As of now, as per the latest research literature, and I need to do delta x amount of validation, delta x amount of analysis, delta x amount of validation study, validation work, so that I can either prove a given method, either I can propose a given method for a new application, which becomes like a designing a product or developing a product. I can either compare a given method with another method. I can do some experimental validation or simulation based validation about the correctness of a given method, or else I myself can propose a method and do some validation for that. So this way, I have to define what is the delta x validation that I am going to do for the given problem which I have selected, for the problem which I have for the problem which I have selected as part of my project or thesis work. That we have to define as a meticulous or accurate project problem statement for your project. So that clearly defines what you are going to do further. What is the delta x? See, when we talk about the delta x work is again linked with many other issues, like you need to have, and I should be coming to this slide, and before going to that slide, what is the delta x work? Why, when we do the delta x work, what are the issues that you may face before coming to that particular point? Now, okay, let us say that you have selected a project, and you have defined you have done a sufficient literature survey, and you have understood what is the state of the art in the given for the selected problem, and you have drawn your project statement in a meticulous way. Once you do that, now what you need to do is you need to do some delta x validation in terms of developing some methodology, developing some approach, whatever it is. You may, for example, let us take the case that you wanted to completely develop a new method about some specific problem, or else you want to apply some method for developing a product. So it is like a design problem, or else you wanted to evaluate a given method using some sort of some simulation tools, whatever it is. Okay, whatever you want to do, you need to have a methodology in place. Whatever you want to do, you need to have a methodology for doing the delta x amount of work. You need to have a methodology in place. So now, a typical approach for developing a methodology, I'm going to talk in this slide. Okay, now, for example, you wanted to think about some new method, some delta x validation to existing method. So then what you do, okay, what are the possibilities? What are the possibilities to improve upon that? Okay, you make some n number of hypotheses. I can change the system like this. I can break into two pieces. I can make these kind of connections. See, it is in a very raw way you can talk about. To talk about, I can say like this. But however, it is up to problem specific and application problem specific and research specific. In a given research, you can for the given research problem, for a given project work problem or thesis work problem, you can make, in order to develop a methodology for doing the delta x improvement, delta x validation, you need to make a hypothesis. You can make n number of hypotheses. When you make n number of hypotheses, you need to have an approach to eliminate them by reasoning. See, when we talk about a specific problem, we can have n number of options to solve it. But all those n number of options will not be valid. Only one solution may work, or one or two solutions may work. Out of those one or two solutions, one may be the best fit solution. So how to come towards the best fit solution? For that, you need to do something called elimination of the unwanted hypothesis or wrong hypothesis by having some suitable reasoning. This reasoning also is application specific, domain specific, or research work specific, or problem specific. So there is no common way of reasoning something. It has to have we need to have the subject knowledge about it. We need to have some suitable skills for that in order to do eliminate the unwanted hypothesis or wrong hypothesis, or to end up coming towards a proper a suitable hypothesis and develop a suitable methodology. Okay. In the process of eliminating this hypothesis, you come up with a proper problem solving approach. See, whatever problem you have selected, okay, this is the problem which I wanted to solve by doing delta X validation. Okay. By doing this elimination method, by this elimination method, you come up with a problem solving approach. And that problem solving approach is constructively drafted. When it is drafted constructively, when it is put forward constructively, it becomes a methodology. That methodology will be a delta X delta X improvement, whatever we are talking about. A delta X improvement for solving a problem which we have selected, project problem or research problem or thesis problem, which we have selected. Okay, so once the methodology is selected, now we need to execute that. We need to execute that. Okay, now let us talk about a simple case like I wanted to do some comparison between a brushless DC motor and a conventional motor. Okay, that is the comparison. That comparison is a problem which I wanted to take up. Okay, so what to compare them? So what are the when we have to disadvantages, all these things we need to compare. So we need to list out the important parameters which are of which makes really the product distinct from each other, that we need to identify. And in order to compare them, we need to develop a methodology. Okay, how to compare them, whether by simulation, whether we need to compare it by simulation studies, whether we need to compare it by doing some analytical calculations, whether we need to do some experimental studies and understand the parameter, the performance difference between them. So these kind of things will come up. So once we make a methodology, so we need to execute that. We need to execute that methodology in order to bring out the results. In order to bring out the results, in order to actually prove your methodology whether the methodology is correct or not. See, when we propose a methodology, when we draft a methodology, it is very necessary to execute something in line with this, with that particular proposed methodology or developed methodology, and prove that your methodology is correct. Now, so that particular process, that particular aspect, stage or step of the project work is nothing but execution stage. Okay, here what do we miss in the execution stage? What do we typically miss? Is okay. What do we typically need to be careful about? What do we typically need to plan about? Is we need to really be sure about what are the prior skills which we have. In fact, it is very important for a student to parallelly plan as part of his coursework, during his coursework, that to have some prior skills, some suitable skills for doing a best project work. In fact, whatever prior skills you gain over here, those prior skills will be very well suited, very well useful subsequently in your career also when you become a professional. So it is very important to have to gain or to learn some prior skills, and those prior skills are going to make you little unique or distinct as compared to others who are going to do projects. Okay, it is very necessary to have a suitable prior skills in the sense like some student who has got knowledge of some simulation tools, some simulation softwares, some student who has got knowledge of some sort of micro processor programming or microcontroller programming, DSP programming. Some students who have got some knowledge of handling some electronic system, electrical system. Some students who has got subject knowledge of some specific analysis tools. So these kind of prior skills which are unique with him, those are very important in doing a successful project. And then resource planning. In this sense, okay, for example, you have selected a problem, you have developed a methodology in order to solve the problem with the delta X validation to that. Delta X validation to the present state of the art, right? In this process, in order to execute that particular in order to execute something, in order to execute your project and prove your methodology is correct. So we need to have resource planning. We need to have resource planning in the sense, okay, what are the resources you require? Do you require any hardware? Do you require any tools? Do you require any software? Do you require any other team members? Do you require any other knowledge sharing? Do you require any other reviewers? These kind of things we need to clearly understand what is our resourcefulness at this point of time. So whether this resourcefulness is sufficient for us to execute the selected project, selected problem, is very important to understand. Okay, now there has to be a validation plan. Without validation, nothing will be accepted. Whatever proposal you make, it will remain as a theory unless until you have a validation plan for it. Whatever you are going to propose in the form of a hypothesis or methodology, unless until you prove it, validate it by some scientific approach, it will not be accepted in in a research in a research circle, right? So definitely any project work or thesis work, in order to get successfully approved, you need to have something to validate your idea or your methodology, whatever you are going to develop and propose as part of your project or thesis work. So you need to have a validation plan. Validation plan can be using some simulation tool and proving that your method is working and correct, or having some experimental setup and practically demonstrating that your proposed method is correct. There can be varieties of approaches like this for validating a given methodology. And now, and definitely, end of the day, we are all limited. We all have the constraints of timelines. A thesis work has to be completed within a year. A research work has to be completed within a given schedule of time, and whatever it is, say 6 months to 1 year to 3 years to, this way it will change. So we need to have a precise timeline planning, and if we don't have this timeline planning, and we'll end up with end of the day we have to compromise, and we'll not be able to whatever we have planned, whatever we wanted to achieve, whatever we wanted to demonstrate, whatever we wanted to get approved as a successful project, will not be. We may have to compromise at some point of time, and the expected results won't come because of time and scarcity. So whatever we are going to plan has to have a proper timeline linked with that, and we need to ensure that we're all doing the work with respect to the time, with respect to proper timeline plan, right? And then reviews. It is very important to time get your work reviewed by your professors, by some domain experts, or maybe in your own team members. Okay, people are your own friends who have got a subject knowledge of some specific thing, and you can get it reviewed. And even you can, once you do some work, it is very important to get it reviewed in research forums. So that is a very reason why we publish papers also. See, if you validate yourself, and in your own team, in your own circle, and with your own professor, you get it validated. So that is to some extent becomes a validation and successful execution of your project. However, if your work is presented to some standard research forums and publications or journals, and there if it undergoes reviews, and there if your method, if your work get accepted as a meaningful research work, okay, then it should be accepted as a proper project work completion, right? So it is important, based on the type of project you are doing, based on category of project you are doing, it is important to have some sort of reviews. It is not always necessary you have to publish your papers and then get accepted and then get reviewed. It may be sometimes that your own professors, your own colleagues, your own friends, your own known domain experts, if they review and accept it, that is also to make to some extent a meaningful completion to your work. Now, once you execute, okay, we talked about problem selection, we talked about deriving literature survey and deriving a proper meticulous problem statement, and we talked about methodology development, and then we talked about the execution process and what are the critical things and key things, so which have to be taken care in the process of execution. And then Finally, we need to do a suitable documentation. Whatever work we do, if we don't document it, it cannot be presented, it cannot be communicated, it cannot be accepted. So it is very important to understand that documentation is going to be an important aspect in any project work. It is not just your MTech project work or BTech project work or PhD work. Whatever it is, wherever it is, in fact, in your further professional career also, whatever work we do, unless until we know a, how to document it properly, okay, we will not be successful about communicating it in the right way to whoever our stakeholders are there in the process. So it is important to have a right attitude, and it is important to understand why documentation is an important aspect in any project work, right? So it is having said that the documentation is going to be an important aspect, going to be an important aspect in any project work in doing any project work. So now a typical, I would like to brief you. Normally people get confused, students get confused, uh, how to present it, what to present it, what is the constructive way to present my work. Okay, see, there are many, each university, each college, maybe to the level of professors, so they decide, so what should be the template in which you have to present your work. However, in brief terms, any research work, any work, any article or any validation work, any innovative work, whatever you do, okay, it can be presented in simple terms like the way I presented in this slide. So when you talk about the title of the project, title of your work, the title should completely speak, aptly speak what is the work that you are doing. Title itself should inform 50% of the message. That is how you should choose your title. And you have to, when you write introduction to your work, whatever work you have done, when you talk about introduction, what should we write? What should we write in the introduction? That will be the question which we get, right? An introduction should speak the background to your work, and it should speak about the problem scenario. What is the problem scenario which we are talking about, and what is the state of the art about that particular problem scenario, and what is the approach that you have developed. Briefly, it has to be done in a brief manner. What is the approach that you have developed, and in a brief, what are your contributions in this particular work. The introduction should say, okay, what is should the introduction of any work, any thesis work, any document what you are going to make should give a feel of the work that is going to, feel of the document, should give complete feel of the document, whoever is going to read it further. So it is very important to write introduction in the best possible manner. It should talk about what is the background for this particular work, why you have selected this particular problem, what is the present scenario, what are the present problems, why you have to choose this, what is the current state of the art scenario about it, what are the existing methods, why you have to propose a new method, why you have to do a different analysis, what is the validation you have done. So these kind of things have to present it in a brief manner, so that it creates impact for the reader, whoever is going to read, and he should get a feel of reading your document further. Then you have to talk about your methodology, as I said. So there is an approach to develop a methodology. Okay, even though it is not a generic thing, it all depends upon individual skills, individual abilities, and individual passion also. Okay, once you follow some approach to develop a methodology, so you have to present that methodology in a very constructive manner. Okay, and it is nothing but whatever problem statement which we derived. So how we are going to solve it. So that is how the methodology has to be presented. Once a methodology is presented, okay, now we need to definitely, as I told you, any methodology which you develop or present has to be validated. So how are you going to validate it? So what is the method, your scientific method that you are going to follow to validate it? So that particular validation method you have to present, and the validation approach. And once you present the validation approach, what are all the things which you have taken care to scientifically establish that your validation method is correct? That you need to present it. And then once you do this validation, so you have definitely the outcome will be results, some results. So those results, it may be experimental results, it may be simulation results, it may be some analysis results, it may be some sort of data collection results, it may be some sort of statistical results. Variety of results will be there based on the type of work which you are doing. Okay, those results you need to present in the outcome, final outcome, and you need to give some conclusions by making, some statements of claims. So you need to claim what you did, what is the best I did, what are my claims about my work, and what is the prospect, what are the prospects of my particular work subsequently, or ahead in future. So these things you should present in the conclusions. So in the conclusions you should talk about some sort of statement of claims and prospects of your work. So that way you have to conclude. So your conclusions should again speak the best thing what you have done. So it should give a feel that you are claiming that something best, something unique, something some delta X validation, which is of very, which is going to be impactful to the society, kind of work you have done. So those statements of claims we need to present, and the prospects what this particular research work has got further, for somebody to further pursue the research work or for somebody to utilize it. So these kind of things we need to state in the statement of claims and conclusions. So now, having said, in fact, okay, this is half an hour. This session is planned for half an hour. Having said, this is a brief way, in order to handle a project work, or thesis work. So I would like to conclude this particular session by giving a simple example, a brief example, which, so I would like to present maybe my discipline. Okay, it should take another 2 to 3 minutes time. Okay, let us talk about a electrical machine, advanced electrical machine. Many of us might have heard about standard machines, induction machines, DC machines, BLDC machines, axial flux machines, varieties of electrical machines. So which we might have seen in our real life, regular life also. So I will talk about in my very first slide, step zero slide, I talked about ideality factors. Ideality factors are something which gives a feel to us where we should improve upon. Okay, when we talk about an electrical machine, for some application, let us talk about an electric vehicle. We want to use an electrical motor for an electric vehicle. So electric vehicles are, is the trend of the day, is the news of the day, and it is going to be featured in the vehicle industry also. So now, when we talk about an electric vehicle and an electric motor for an electric vehicle, what are all the ideal features which we like to have for such electric machine for an electric vehicle? So I will say that it should make zero noise. I will say that it should be very efficient. I should say that it should not create any vibration. I should say that it should have less, heat problems. I should say that it should have less maintenance. I should say that it should have less acoustic noise. Apart from vibration, it should have less acoustic noise. So I can keep listing some n number of ideal parameters, which motivates me to improve an electrical machine for a given application. So now the question comes: each of these areas to improve upon. So what are the things? What are the possibilities? Okay, whatever possibility we choose, whatever is the possibility we choose, that particular possibility should not compromise my present benefits of an existing machine. As on today, in the given state of the art scenario, my electrical machine, my electric motor for an electric vehicle is having certain features and certain standards. I wanted to, in terms of these ideality factors, I need to improve upon these features, ideal features, by doing some validation, by developing some method, by doing some validation, by doing that delta X innovation. I want to improve upon any of these features without compromising the existing features. That is what I think myself as an innovation. Innovations can be very big, innovations can be breakthrough, innovation can be small also. Whatever it is, whatever delta X validation we do, that is definitely an innovation. In fact, many of the innovations are very simple and brief. In fact, there will be kind of big scientific breakthrough innovations which will change our life. Okay, that is called impact. What is the impact? The level of innovation what we do. Innovation has got many levels. Okay, having defined innovation in a very simplistic manner, innovation has got many levels. So whatever the level of innovation what you do, that creates impacts on society. The best innovation you do, it creates a huge impact on the society. Okay, like that. Okay, when we talk about innovation in a simple manner, coming to the electrical machine case for electric vehicle. Now I want to improve upon the efficiency. I want to improve upon the compactness. I want to make it more compact. I want to make it more efficient. I want to make it less. I want to make it more silent. I want to make it less maintenance prone. So I want to make it best in terms of temperature problems, heat problems, all these kind of things. So these issues when we talk about these features when we talk about. So what we can do? So we can do this delta X validation by talking about the electromagnetic configuration itself. If you can talk about different electromagnetic configuration, instead of radial flux, if you talk about axial flux, instead of axial flux, if you talk about some other electromagnetic configuration, that way you can improve upon. If you propose a different material which has got some some advantages, and with that, if you can reduce the acoustic noise, if you can reduce the vibration signature, if you can reduce the weight, so that is the value addition. If we can have some sort of cooling cooling system design which can best extract the heat and ensure that the system is compact and ensure that the system is not heating up. So that is another that is another way of doing the delta X value addition. So in order to reduce the maintenance, so what are the aspects which I need to take care for reducing for improving the maintenance aspect. So I should not have brushes kind of thing. I should have things which over time gets eroded, gets damaged. These kind of things I should have in the system. For that, what are the improvements that I need to do? This way, we can talk about multiple ways of how to improve upon the system. This is in terms of designing something only I'm talking about. Instead, there can be some other ways we can talk about analysis. Some other ways we can talk about comparing between different kind of electromagnetic options, comparing between different kind of cooling options, comparing between different kind of material options. This can be also a problem. See, that is where I said the research problem or the project problem, whatever we are going to define, can be in various categories. In whichever category we choose, and from that particular category, there can be varieties of options in any field of work. So when we talk about electric machine, at the design level, as I said, choosing it electromagnetic configuration, choosing a material, okay, the cooling system design, cooling heat transfer design. So these can be design level options. Another way is if you yourself can invent a new electromagnetic configuration that can be research or innovation level option, best first level option. Okay, and if you talk about comparing between electromagnetic configurations, comparing between materials, comparing between the cooling system designs, that can be an analysis level option. Okay, and when it comes to validation, okay, that is another level of option. Okay, now there is a method of cooling. Okay, that particular method for a given size of the machine, for the given class of machine, category of machine, how do we validate how it works? So that is another kind of project problem which we can take. So this way, in any given field of work, in given discipline of work, and in the given categories of possible research, in the given possible research categories, we can choose some category. In that particular category, we can choose some specific type of work, which we can do some delta X validation, which is non-existent as on today. We have to understand the state of the art for that, and what is the delta X validation we need to do so that it will be beneficial and impact. It will create some impact for the society, and it is going to do some validation to our societal application. So this is how we have to think about while doing a project work. Okay, having said this, so I believe this my presentation, brief presentation, is definitely useful. So for all the students who are going to follow this and who are following it now, and I would like to request the people online to raise any questions, whatever they have. Okay, with this, I have just completed my presentation. I request the students to pose their questions to me now, please. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Harshita will be taking up questions from
Your
our
voice is
audience.
low. Can you be a little loud?
Thank you, sir. Now Harshita will be picking up the questions, and she'll be asking you, sir.
Yes, please. Yes.
Hello.
Yeah, you're audible. Yes.
Yeah. Good evening, sir. Sir, the most asked question seems to be what is the level of innovation that is required at your level?
Can you come again about the question?
So, what is the level of innovation that is required at your level?
Level of innovation that is required at your level means you mean to say for an MTech student or BTech student kind of thing you are asking? Okay, level of innovation in this sense. Okay, it can be anything. Okay, what I believe is for a PhD student, it should be in the level one or level two categories. For an MTech student, it can be in level two, level three categories, or even level four. For BTech student, it can be in level four and level five categories. That is my personal opinion. It need not be also. It all depends upon student's caliber and his ability and his passion. If a student has got the best aptitude and intelligence, so he can even be in the first category of work also. So first category of work really comes a kind of breakthrough work. Okay. So and subsequent categories comes further down it all depends upon the student's ability and capability and his own time what he can spend upon the work. Yes, please.
I guess we don't have much more questions right now. We can end up the session.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah. If we don't have any further questions, can we end the session?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We can end this session, sir. So I thank you, Venkatagaru, for giving us such a wonderful session, even in your busy schedule, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Vinil. Thank you very much, Mr. Vinil.
I hope this session will be beneficial to all the student fraternity and all the scholars and PG level students as well. I also thank Professor B. Mallikarjuna Garu for supporting this platform, and I also thank Professor Madhusudanna, AU Computer Cell, for giving this wonderful opportunity. And I also thank Chaitanya sir, Gautam sir, Montia, Harshita, Surya, and Nitisha. We will see you next week at the same time. Uh, Please stay tuned and share our channel as well with your friends and family. And please like and subscribe to our channel. Hope this session is beneficial to all the students and the student fraternity. Thank you, sir. Thank you all for being online till now. Uh, Good night, everyone. And sorry for the disturbance, which was initiated at the very beginning. We will see that no more disturbance will be caused in the further session.